We've got to face the grim reality that the country we live in, the country that far too many have fought and died for, the country that stands up for freedom, democracy and the rule of law, is changing under our feet because of the weakness and ideological obsessions of the Albanese Labor government. Where we were strong, we are now choosing to be weak. Where we've shown strong values, we're now caving in to the extremists. Where we supported humanity, we now take decisions that expose people to risk, that gladden the hearts of hateful, murderous jihadists. Australia's abandoning of Israel is shameful. The way the government is giving succour to Hamas and other Islamist extremists is sickening. It is also reckless and dangerous, not only for Israel, but for the world and for our own domestic security. The latest terrible decision by the Albanese government was the blocking of a visa for Israeli MP Simcha Rothman yesterday, the news we brought to you last night. They have deemed him divisive. Documents obtained by the Australian newspaper reveal one of the supposedly divisive comments used to justify this ban is Rothman declaring that Hamas must be eliminated. And the Immigration Minister, Tony Burke, says the politician has been blocked partly because his visit might risk the good order of our Muslim community. Really? This is how low this nation has sunk. We ban an elected MP from a liberal democratic nation, a nation we are supposed to be a friend and ally to, because of his opposition to a murderous terrorist organisation and the fact that it might upset who? Radical Islamists in our own country. This is difficult to believe. And it means that what our longest-serving foreign minister, a man I was proud to work for, Alexander Downer, it means that what he said last week about Albanese's Palestinian recognition is more true than any of us dared to imagine.
This is a huge change in Australia's historic position in foreign policy. We've gone from supporting a liberal democratic country under siege from a terrorist organisation and opposing that terrorist organisation to supporting the terrorist organisation and opposing the liberal democratic state. This is an extraordinary thing for Australia to have done. I mean, I think in a way it is the worst foreign policy decision Australia has made since the Second World War.
The worst decision since the war. Yeah, and the Israeli MP himself, Simcha Rothman, was absolutely clear and right when he spoke to Sharri Markson last night.
Those views are accepted by, I passed resolutions in the Knesset with 2/3 of the Knesset approving those ideas. So it's not against me, it's against the state of Israel and actually against the Jewish people as I see it.
Yeah, wanting to eliminate Hamas is sensible and mainstream. Rothman also called out the rank hypocrisy of an Albanese government that lauded the anti-Israeli and pro-Palestinian protest on the Sydney Harbour Bridge the other week, a protest that saw Islamist hate preachers and socialist revolutionary radicals joined by Labor MPs and even a former Labor foreign minister.
I saw many people in Australia chanting in the streets, from the river to the sea, Palestine would be free. I would think this is a message of hate and division that calls for the destruction of the state of Israel and for genocide of Jews. That's a message of hate and destruction. I did not see the government of Australia doing anything against those messages.
Banning opponents of Hamas. Look, I want to see the destruction of Hamas. Anyone who knows anything about Hamas wants it eliminated. That's the only way to protect Israel and to liberate the people of Gaza. Israel has hit back at Australia today, revoking the visas of Australian officials dealing with the Palestinian Authority in Israel. Good on them. Australia is behaving appallingly, and no self-respecting nation would fail to retaliate. As I've said for almost 2 years now, all of this unfounded criticism of Israel by Albanese, Wong and their Labor mates only fuels anti-Semitism and hatred here in Australia. They've been playing with fire. They keep saying they oppose anti-Semitism, yet their demonisation of Israel and their repetition of Hamas propaganda adds to the lies and the hatred. We need to remember, of course, that our Prime Minister is a member of the socialist left faction. The Foreign Minister, too, is a member of the socialist left. They have both been hardline, hard left activists since university days, and they've covered themselves in the veneer of moderation to get elected and stay in power. But on the Middle East, we've gradually seen their real radical leftist ideology come to the fore. And it's ugly, damaging and dangerous for this country. Remember, the current terror alert in this country is probable. And the greatest terror threat here is from Islamist extremism, the sorts of extremists who share the motives and aims of Hamas and their jihadist supporters. As a nation, we should be unequivocal in our opposition to Hamas and supportive of politicians committed to their elimination. Instead, our government bans an elected representative who stands up to the terrorists. Let's have a look at the Foreign Minister's statement on all of this. Penny Wong says the Netanyahu government is isolating Israel and undermining international efforts towards peace and a two-state solution. Nonsense. Australia is trying to isolate Israel along with other countries, and the two-state solution has never been so far away thanks to Hamas. Wong says Israel's reaction was unjustified when clearly Israel had to respond to Australia's vow to recognise a non-existent Palestinian state and banning a series of mainstream Israeli visitors, including elected officials. Wong also said Australia is working towards a ceasefire and the release of hostages when all the moves in that direction have only come about because of Israel's military response, not glib words from Wong and her mates. Penny Wong also says the government safeguards Australians from hate and harm. Yet Islamist hate preachers have celebrated slaughter and demonised Jews repeatedly over the past 2 years without any government action. And Wong pathetically claims the government takes decisive action against anti-Semitism when all they've done is stand by and watch and feed the fire with their own anti-Israeli words and actions. Australia, under a Labor government, was the first country to vote on the United Nations resolution to establish Israel way back in 1947. How the worm has turned. Albanese and Wong have turned on Israel. Relations have never been so sour, with a tit-for-tat diplomatic fight now raging while Israel defends itself from jihadists in a brutal war. Instead of helping Israel defend itself in the only way that can ever deliver peace for the Palestinian people, Australia is colluding with the Palestinian Authority, who are pretending that their witch's brew of warring Islamist extremist factions can actually run a peaceful new nation. It is delusional, but it's also dangerous. And it shows just how quickly a national government can make this country less reliable, less committed to its traditional values, less supportive of democracy and sovereign rights, and crucially, less secure.